And welcome to From Behind the Pulpit. We're looking forward to gathering with you this coming Lord's Day. We're going to be in Philippians chapter 3, verses 1 and following. Now we've already handled verse 1, so we'll just use that as springboarding through the verses to come, but especially verse 2 and the cautions and the warnings that are there. What can you do, especially a household with children, and especially in a household with children that has dogs in the neighborhood? Because Paul's going to give a warning. This would be a good opportunity to help your children understand that sometimes Scripture will use an idea or an illustration that is common or familiar to us. And he's going to tell us to beware of dogs. This would be a good opportunity to teach your children that what Paul the Apostle is doing is he's using something that anyone walking down the road would have something that immediately connects them to the warning that he's giving concerning those who give false teachings and who spiritually are out to devour the souls of men. And so take advantage of that illustration. Is there a dog in your neighborhood that every time you walk by you feel like it wants to chew your leg off, rip your arm off, or gnaw your nose off and your ears? Use that opportunity to show the vividness and the severity of what the apostle wants us to understand when he says to beware of the dogs, those evil workers, those professors, those false professors of the false circumcision. We'll examine that this coming Lord's Day. Take advantage of doing some early teaching as you come. Hey, if you notice back here behind me, we have the keyboard set up. This coming Lord's Day, Chloe Cornwell is going to be playing the keyboard as part of the worship gathering. And so we're grateful for that, and we bless the Lord for her willingness to use a talent that God has given to her for the public expression of worship together. Can I also encourage you this? Households, if you have children, can you do us a favor and help teach your children that these instruments are beautiful? We want them to be familiar with them. We're not opposed to them touching the instruments, but to do so with permission from the instrumentalist and to do so with permission from the worship leaders. And so if you want your children to be around and be familiar with these instruments, which I highly recommend and encourage, do your children a favor and help train them and teach them to behave responsibly around the instruments, and encourage them to ask Pastor John. Hey, are you taking advantage of this weekly, we call it a bulletin, but maybe a better way to think of this is a worship guide, because it has things in it that I want to encourage you to take advantage of, especially whenever you get home. Are you taking advantage of the weekly catechism questions? I hope you are. I hope you don't just let this just be blank information. Hey, how's those memory verses coming? Remember Philippians chapter 2, verses 14 through 18? You haven't dropped it. You haven't set it down. You haven't thought, well, it's good to have that out of the way. Hey, how's it coming along? Remember, it is Philippians chapter 2, verses 14 through 18. Do all things without grumbling or disputing, so that I will prove myself, or we will prove ourselves, you will prove yourselves to be blameless and innocent, children of God, above reproach, in the midst of a crooked and perverse generation, among whom you appear as lights, holding fast the word of life, so that in the day of Christ I will have reason to glory, that I did not run in vain, nor did I toil in vain. But even if I am being poured out as a drink offering upon the sacrifice and the service of your faith, I will rejoice and share my joy with you all. But you too, I urge you, rejoice in the same manner and share your joy with me. Oh, keep working on it. Don't give up on it, and don't be afraid to take moments to refresh yourself in it. These verses, among many more in Scripture, I think they stand as paramount benefits to us in the day that we live. Hey, I'm looking forward to gathering with you on this coming Lord's Day. It's the start of spring break. Woo! Wow. Okay, can you believe it? We survived through an enormously wintry winter. And it's good to have spring-like weather upon us. Hey, I'm praying that the Lord will bless you, that He'll bless your household, and that He'll bless the advancement of the gospel among us.